So I'll pass over the time to Seow Yuin. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Martha, for the interesting introduction. Yeah, so anyway, today our panel, we are going to talk about sex, money, and spirit. So I guess in a way, they can be seen as very different things, but yet there is a lot of common themes that, run through the three of these topics. So before we start, I don't know about you, I sort of came back rushing from work. And so now, I need to settle down a little bit. So maybe for some of you, you might also need to do that. So maybe could I just suggest that we all take one deep breath together and feel yourself coming back here into this space so that your attention is here. You can get the most out of what our panelists are going to share with you. Yes, but also before we begin this panel, I will kind of like to invite each of you to think about what are your personal belief systems, your values with regards to sex, with regards to money, and with regards to spirit. Of course, our panelists will be sharing their own perspectives, their experiences, what works for them. It might not be what you believe in, it might not be what you stand for. But I think more importantly is you need to know where you are now. And then we could, explore that in a dialogue session later. There is no right or wrong here. It's just kind of what you believe in, right? And what your values are. Yeah. So I'm just gonna jump straight into it, and let me introduce our first panelist for today, Chan Fan Shin. So Shin, yes. So well, I have his bio here, a short one. So like most teenagers, curiosity about sexuality was the motivating force that led Shin onto his path of helping people with sexuality issues. After completing his bachelor's in psychology and master's in counselling, Shin is now a registered counselor with the Board of Counselling Malaysia and one of the few that specializes in sexuality counselling in Malaysia. So I would like to kind of start. I know Shin has prepared slides, but Shin, I would also like you to share how would you actually describe your relationship with sex and sexuality? Go for it. Just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm okay with impromptu. This is what I'm going to share in my slides because when I was given this topic of sex, money, and spirit, I was actually quite anxious because it seems to be very general. It's not easy where we are not, because I used to answer direct question with maybe sexual dysfunction and how to solve it, or why does it happen, things like that. So being in this panel actually makes me very nervous right now. And my relationship with sex, I would say, can I start with my slides already? Because it's actually in there, okay? Great, I really like what, can everyone see my slide? Yeah, okay. I really like what how Seow Yuin actually started this. You sort of able to read my mind. This is how I would like to present today, where the first one, it's my relationship with sex. And how would I define sex after 7 years of practice? What comes straight to my mind when I talk about sex, it's a desire, it's a form of desire. It's pleasure, reproductive, and worth exploring. Like what Seow Yuin actually told all of us, I was very curious, just like other teenagers when I was young. And at that time, I still remember the whole journey started when, after my standard 6 primary school exam, and we have nothing better to do, and I decided to start reading high school students magazine. So the only thing that I'm interested in that whole magazine is actually the page where reporters or writers will answer, or professionals, I think they are professionals or teachers at that time, will answer sex-related or puberty-related issues to whoever that writes in. So I just feel the thrill of wanting to know more. And of course, just like any other teenagers, I was introduced with porn by my relatives, by my cousins. And one day they just show me something without me actually knowing it. And at the time only, I feel like, wow, this actually gives me so much of excitement. And like what Martha asked, if Martha were to ask me, how's my sex life? I would say, lately, I've started one thing with my wife, which is, I told her yesterday, I said, you know, I'm doing an experiment. And she said, what? You know, we have known each other for 5 years. And I've realized that I've been initiating sex all the time. So this time, I'm not going to do it and initiate it anymore. And I'll wait and see when are you going to ask me for it. So she was actually quite pissed in the beginning. She was like, what do you mean I never initiate? It's like, yes, I feel that you're interested in wanting to have sex with me. Okay, you look at each other and say, let's see. Why I'm bringing out this story is because for me, even though we are together for 5 years, but I think sex is something worth exploring. I really would like to know what will happen if there's a change in between our dynamic in sex. How will she initiate that? And when is she going to do that? So I'm curious and excited to know. So for me, what I have learned after so many years, as not many years, but 7 years, I mean, who am I to compare with Martha? But 7 years of practice, I just realized that we have to see sex as something which is fun, which has a lot of possibilities, which is true. A lot of my clients went into problem with sex is because that they see sex too seriously. I still remember many years ago, there was a couple that came to see me. They wanted to have baby. They are married for 3 years. But then they are not able to do it just because the husband developed sexual dysfunction lately. His husband is physically fine and young. Why is he not able to have sex? Why is he not able to have an erection during sex and maintain erection? Simply because they look at sex too seriously, because sex is about reproduction. So the wife will actually count everything in detail and make sure everything goes according to the plan. That creates a lot of stress, and sex is not fun anymore. Many years ago, when I was still an intern in community counseling center, we were actually invited to go to a workshop which actually teaches us how to do sex education to the public, especially teenagers. I still remember that time there was an activity where the trainer asked us to break into groups and pretend that we are high school students and do a project that wants us to present a topic. Why is sex bad? I have no sex education background at that moment, But I still remember one thing. One of the group went out. They did a very, very good presentation, and they gave a very, very sound conclusion by telling people that sex is bad, and these are the reasons why I don't want to have sex, and I hate sex. So because this conclusion was so sound and it actually fits the whole atmosphere, so that's why people were there clapping and cheering for this conclusion. But again, I feel like, is there something wrong? Yes, maybe ultimately in Malaysia, in an Islamic country, we want to practice abstinence among the high school students. Of course, ultimately this is their goal. But do we really want to tell our teenagers sex is bad? Is this, as educated, is this what we want our next generation to feel like every time when they talk about sex? How are these people? Yes, maybe they don't have sex during high school, but how are these people going to do to face their partners when they grow up? So in conclusion, I think sex is fun, and be open-minded and explore. Just play around with this relationship between us and sex. So yeah, I think that answers my question, Seow Yuin. Yeah. Would you like to prompt another question, or shall I continue with my whatever that I've prepared?
Oh, yeah, why don't you continue first?
Okay, sure. So next, money. My relationship with money. So how I define money is that it's a form of energy to help us to survive and to keep the world moving. So if we look at the history of money, how we started it. We started by barter system where, I have 2 chickens and I'm looking for some vegetables, and you happen to be a farmer with vegetables, and we will discuss and we agree among ourselves on a certain price. Then okay, then we decided to trade. I'll give my chicken and you give me your vegetables. And because not everyone wants chicken and not everyone wants vegetables, right? So we cannot exchange so freely. It's pretty hard for us to trade. So we decided to have banks will print notes, then money comes out and we exchange. But nowadays, in this very modern era, banknotes seems to be not so commonly used anymore. Instead, money has become numbers. We have e-wallet, we have our bank transfer, and stuff like that. But money being money, hence, I think it is a form of energy for us to survive, to change, to exchange this energy with the necessity, with whatever that we want. And it is keeping this world moving. Imagine a world without money. Then we'll go back to barter system and everything become very, very tough. So my journey with my relationship with money, it's pretty, I would say there are a lot of up and downs. Where I grew up in a financially healthy family, my parents are actually quite busy with work. They trust me a lot, so they never, when I was young, they never questioned when I asked for money. They never questioned me, why do you need money? They know I'm a very trustworthy person. I almost never lie to them when I ask for money because they will just give me. So by having that mentality, actually, I don't really know. My relationship with money was very casual because I have never thought of one day maybe I may not have enough to survive until recent few years. I face a financial struggle because my father's business wasn't doing so well now, and I have my own family to take care of. Then I have to start worrying about money, start counting and review on my relationship with money. Just like many people in the Asian country, raised in the Asian content, where we are very kind people that seldom appreciate what we do. Simply because, like me being a counseling, right? You will come to see me and just maybe over a cup of coffee, say, you study counseling, can I tell you something? And they're expecting some solution simply because I study counseling. And of course, after the whole coffee session, if I were to ask, hey, see, I spent so much going to university and getting a cert, so now I'm providing you free advice. Do you think it's worth something, and do you think you want to pay me? Of course, we're not going to say that. It sounded very materialistic, don't you think so? So in this content, in the Asia content, we seldom think about what we do really worth something. Hence, I come over to really study and think about my relationship with money. Do I have a healthy relationship with money? Do I love money enough? This is what I ask myself. Do I know how money actually works? Am I actually pushing money away? Like, maybe I can give you another example where when I was young, I asked my father one question. We are doing trading. We buy this for $10 and we are selling this for $25. It's a very simple job, right? That why do we deserve so much? Being a business person, of course, you say, of course we deserve this $25. Or else who is going to pay for your school? Who is going to pay for whatever you are using now? We deserve that. I never understand that because my relationship with money wasn't serious at all at that time. So, okay, I think my time is almost up. Let me share a little bit about my relationship with spirit. For me, spirit is a very abstract idea. So I would really like to learn from the other panelists. Because I am a Buddhist, one of my teachers actually told me that in Buddhism, in the scriptures, we seldom talk about spirit. Because we believe that as long as you are taking good care of your physical body and mental health, then your spirit will be strong. So that's the reason why I tend not to really dive deep into talking about spirit or thinking about spirit. Instead, or even though I believe that it is there. So in conclusion, these three topics for me are all taboos. Why are they taboos? Sex, of course, we know it's a taboo. Money is a taboo because what what I said, we seldom ask money and talk about money with the people which are close to us. This is what I'm learning right now. To talk about money with the people which are close to us so that our relationship can be better and we are more truthful with each other. So, what do I value the most in life? I think these are the things that we can reflect and think about our relationship with all these three elements and what leads to psychological freedom. So, I always believe that psychological freedom is what I want to achieve, probably in terms of spirituality. So, yes, so what's for you? That's all that I would like to say today. Thank you. Back to you, Shin.
Thank you so much, Shin. Yeah, I think it was especially interesting to, to hear you share about your negotiations or discussions in terms of exploring sex with your wife. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with us, for your courage. Martha just reminded me that I ought to describe a little bit of how we look, in case you have participants that will be interested. So I'm Seow Yuin, the moderator, and I have short hair, wear glasses, petite in size. And then Shin, who just spoke, he also wear glasses. He's having a pink shirt today. And am I okay to say that he has kind of a squarish face and kind of a short crew cut? Yep, he's showing us his chin. Okay, so anyway, I think Shin raised a very important point that maybe also our next panelist, Genecia, will talk about. He actually, commented that in his line of work, and as a counselor, friends will come to him for personal advice. And then, do you charge or do you not charge? They're your friends, right? So I guess this is this comes from a different perspective of how do you actually value yourself? How much do you value your time? What is your money attitude? So that's I guess it's also a balancing act that each of us need to do for ourselves. And so I'm going to move on to our next panelist, who's going to talk about money. And I'm sure she's also going to address some of these issues or topics. So if I may introduce, okay, let me pull out her profile. Yes, so our next speaker, Genecia Alluora. So Genecia is a former Miss Singapore, cafe retail chain owner, and award-winning entrepreneur that includes Southeast Asia Women of Excellence 2010, International Progressive Woman 2019, and Business Mentor of the Year 2020. She's the founder of Soul Reach Women, the #1 female entrepreneur network in Southeast Asia that connects more than 200,000 women across the region. Today, with the Soul Reach Women Blueprint and podcast, the latest trend in social media marketing, the network helps thousands to bring their business and leadership brand online. Her vision is to support 1 million women to own and love the F word. Yep, she is totally a winner. And she is looking very pinkish with all her pink background today, in white with lovely long hair, beautiful Genecia. And so if I may start off, so what exactly is the F word and how should we actually love it?
Well,
Genecia.
thank you very much for introducing me. My name is, let me just quickly flash out my name in case some of you don't know how to spell my name. My name is Genecia Alluora, spelled as GENECIAALLUORA. Genecia Alluora. Good to see you today, and thank you very much for being here. I would like to appreciate each and every one of you. And of course, what is the F word? Now, the F word is being fabulous, having freedom, financial independence, and a happy family. And that to me is the F word. And yeah, so Seow Yuin, so that is the F word, yes. So I want to share with you a little bit about my perspectives about money and why I am doing what I'm doing today. I absolutely love what I'm doing today, but I never started doing that right at the beginning. So I want to pose a question to you today. How much is your time worth per hour? How much is your time worth per hour? Now, that is very important because if you view the value of money, sometimes it's tied to your time, how you value your time and what you're doing in every single 24 hours a day, right? So the way you spend your time is the way you value yourself, and it's the way that you can grow your abundance and to manifest more money or abundance into your life. So first and foremost, answer my question in your heart. How much is your time worth per hour? It can be any number. There's no right or wrong. It really depends on what is in your heart. It could be $50, $20, $100, $1,000, or $3,000. It doesn't matter what number that is, but we have to answer the first question. So that in itself, hold that answer and hold that thought, and let me come back to you. So I just want to share a story about who I am and how far I've come. I started working when I was 14 years old, when I was, my family financially, we were not sound. So I was often bullied in school. My mother pawned her gold to send me for instructor program. So I taught yoga, aerobics, and line dancing at a very young age at 14. So I was one of the youngest instructor in Singapore. And because I didn't have money to buy new clothes, new shoes, and I was wearing the same type of bra, and we wear the same type of stuff. So I was often the focus of being bullied in school. There were two occasions that I remembered very clearly that traumatized me quite greatly. Was that the mean girls cornered me in the basketball court and pulled open my PE shirt, exposing my bra. And they go, "Oh, you're wearing the same bra?" And I just felt totally humiliated because you see, I was poor. And to me, that formed the value of money in my heart and my soul. Right? I have to work when others are playing. I have to work when others go shopping. I have to work when, my friends are, staying back in school and chilling out. So it made me very hard. That means my heart was hardened because I had to work and trade time for money. And that to me is something that I want to break out. So I never wanted to work for people, never wanted to work for others. But fortunately and unfortunately, I grew and I love to help people. I graduated as an occupational therapist. I went through SARS, and that was a turning point in my life in 2004 that I decided that I want to move into entrepreneurship. And I took the leap of faith out of the 9-to-5 working as an occupational therapist, and went on to transit into a full-time entrepreneur, starting to do image consultancy and helping others to look good, feel great from the inside out. So that in itself was a transition of mindset. And moving forward, it was a lot of personal development work, a lot of self-healing. I'm so glad I went through a number of different type of programs, that one of them was gifted to me by a very good friend. And the first program I attended was Money and You. And then subsequently, I attended Psychology of Vision. And that was when my doors opened and I continuously grow into psychology and self-healing and personal development. And that healed, I began my journey to heal my relationship with money, where I hated my parents for, being poor. The fact of life, I was constantly being bullied in school and looked down upon consistently. My self-esteem took a hit, and it was really tough. I was really vulnerable. But because I was able to love and accept myself and develop some beliefs that really helped me to be where I am today. So I'd love to share them with you. Of course, being now running a successful cafe retail chain in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, 18 franchisees and licensees. Even though I had a successful cafe retail chain, after 4 years exiting to a public listed company owner, I was not happy because I just felt that life was more than just profits. Life was more than just making money. Life was more than just whatever that I'm doing right now, because I have no business background. And I moved into building a legacy business that I call Soul Rich Woman. So this Soul Rich Woman, let me just share with you why I call it Soul Rich Woman. I really believe that women or people and generally for myself, I feel that women should have the soul. They have soul. Once you have the soul, you have a soul, you can develop abundance in any way you want. So with the soul, that's how you develop and you evolve as a person and bear forth the fruits of whatever that you are doing. And that is the definition of soul-rich woman. And it ties in with the F word: fabulous, freedom, financial independence, and a happy family. And that defines not a person, but how you value at which point in your life, which one stands out for you most. It doesn't necessarily have to be that 4 F words. It could be food, if you love food, but what is your F word that you truly love to be? So I'm going to share with you some of the beliefs that helped me to break through from my low self-esteem to constantly being bullied, to being hard-minded about money, that, you know, blaming my parents, to loving myself and establishing a business that I truly love while I give value to other people and influencing in other people's lives. So are we ready for the few beliefs? So the first one is I deserve to be rich because I give value to others. Now, earlier on, Shin talks about, you know, barter trading, right? You do for free, whether you should be paid. But as long as you serve, SERVE, you deserve to be rich because you provide value to other people's lives. So that is the first belief that transformed my life, because I also wanted to do free. I want to help those people who are poor, but I must make myself rich first. I must make myself successful first before I could really give more to other people. And now I have a charity. I adopt a few charities actually. One of the charity is Children at Risk Empowerment Singapore, called CARE Singapore, where I help children at risk, youth at risk. I give motivational talks. I counsel them, because I was once a troubled teen as well, because I played truant, I was running away from all the pain and suffering I was going through as a bullied youth. So I wanted to share with them that there is hope and light at the end of the tunnel. So if you believe that I deserve to be rich because you give value to people's lives, that's when your life is going to be transformed. And as I was growing and I was developing myself, I was giving so much, but I was empty at the same time. I realized that I need to be an excellent receiver. So as I'm giving, I must learn to receive. So when people ask me, oh, can I help you with your business? Can I guide you? Or can I help you in this project? I say, no, I can do it myself. Because I grew up at 14 years old fighting for my own rice bowl. So I'm very independent. So I opened my heart to learn to receive, to be an excellent receiver. That's how the abundance walked through the doors. And after being able to receive, I started to become more and more grateful for every single penny and every single cent that comes in and goes out. By having a gratitude mindset and saying that thank you for every single cent, right down to the 5 cents, I learned that by saying that, appreciating every single cent gave me a lot more, 100 times more, by being grateful for every single one that I have. And of course, I get rich doing what I love. And then that is true for me. I absolutely love what I'm doing now, running Soul Rich Woman, exiting my cafe retail chain. I absolutely love that. And now I'm speaking, I'm sharing my knowledge with people. So that in itself is true. And last but not least, I started with this mantra for a very, very long time. And if you like, you can say it with me. All you need to do is just raise your right hand and put your right hand onto your heart. And then in 3, 2, 1, let's speak this together. 3, 2, 1. I love myself and I set myself free. This is my time. I'm ready for the next step. Repeat 2 more times. I love myself and I set myself free. This is my time. I'm ready for the next step. One more time. I love myself and I set myself free. This is my time. I'm ready for the next step. Now pause and breathe in and breathe out. Notice how you feel at this current moment. Be at peace. And notice the feeling about taking the next step. And relax. So that is my journey about money and with money. And notice how we've transited and being at peace and aligned with our heart. That's when the soul is truly happy. And alone, you are strong. Together, we are unstoppable. So I hope this will bless you and continue to serve as a reminder that you deserve to be rich when you add value to people's lives. When you do something you love, you deserve to be rich. Shin?
Thank you so much, Genecia. And I'm very grateful that you shared all these wonderful, mantras, there's also values and attitudes that we can take away. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, so we have a comment from Fiona. She said that I nearly cried. And I think, yes, it's really powerful, just the hand on the heart and touching yourself and just reminding yourself that, we all deserve, really, really deserve to have the financial freedom, to have all the F words, No matter which F you're thinking about, yeah, it's a perfect F. It's fabulous.
Yeah, whatever F that may be for you.
Yeah, so thank you, Genecia. So let's move on. And since we're now in the correct space, in the soul space, we can now smoothly move into spirit, which is what our next panelist is going to take us and share about. So yes, let me introduce our next panelist, Varin Gill. Varin, she wants to live in a world filled with a sexually sovereign women in love with themselves. She uses various wellness techniques from meditation, energy healing, dance and sound healing to reconnect women to their body's own wisdom. She also conducts workshops focused on the shadow self, womb wisdom, and goddess alignment work alongside intuitive soul readings with tarot and astrology to assist people in learning more about themselves. Yes, so Varin, could you share what led you to the path of sacred sexuality?
Mute, sorry. I need to unmute myself. I've kept it on mute all this while. So hi, everyone. It's my second time on Sugar and Spice. I'm super, super grateful to be here alongside amazing panelists like Genecia and Shin, and alongside amazing, amazing organizers like yourself and Martha. This is my first ever panel. I'm actually putting myself out there in this space only for the last year and a half. I have my background, actually, I started as a chartered accountant. I finished as a finance director in a full-time job about 7-8 years ago. That was like my last full-time role. And that, at the time I got that role, I was also going through a divorce with my ex-husband. I was sent from this company in the UK to come and work in Singapore. And, I realized so much about what I wanted when I was on my own that it really changed my perspective. So just to cut a long story short, I have vaginismus. I still have vaginismus. And what that is basically, the muscles in your vaginal area totally clench up when you're about to have penetration. And I've had this, for the longest of times. And it's so much better in the last, I would say 8 years, since I got divorced. I've really not had any problem having sex. In fact, it's been amazing because it's opened me to various healing methods, finally ending up in the world of sacred sexuality. I did not know this space existed. So when I first went to see doctors about vaginismus, the only solutions they had for me was psychosexual counselling, which was not really working for me. And since then, I realized that was the only solution that was available, and I did not know how many other solutions that were available. I mean, the person who would be an expert on every concept of solution for vaginismus is Martha. But I did not know someone like Martha existed out there at the time. Eventually, I discovered sacred sexuality, Tao Tantra itself, jade eggs, and, you know, just to cut a long story short, various aspects of spirituality. I've been on various retreats. In fact, when I was first diagnosed with vaginismus when I was 27, I, for some reason, came across healing, Sekyum energy healing. And it's like Reiki or pranic healing, etc. It's just an Egyptian energy form. And that was the first time I reconnected with the concept of ancient Egypt as well. Because ancient Egypt has its own brand of Tantra. A lot of people probably don't realize it's completely different to Indian Tantra. It's completely different to Tao Tantra as well. It's actually alchemy. And when I discovered that, when I learned Sekyum energy healing, I was amazed at how easy it was for me to learn. So the more I delved into that, the more I explored, the more I realized that, you know, when it was time for me to make a decision about my life, the company I was working for was like, so what do you want to do now? You finish this stint, you know, you can go back to the UK, and I was like, no. I am going to leave all of this, like once and for all. I'm going to explore who I am, what all of that meant in the journey of the last sort of 6 years from the time I decided to move away from full-time work. Where does all of this lead? And of course, there's been a huge burst in the space of mind-body wellness in the last 7 years. I mean, the industry of wellness did not exist 10 years ago. Since when I was in a career anyway, in a full-time career, wellness, apart from yoga, little bits here and there, wellness has become an entire industry in the last 10 years. And it's amazing. It makes me so happy to see people wanting to learn about feeling better. And that's really what led me to sacred sexuality. I really wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to really empty myself of all of this self-judgment, you know, what, I can't have sex. I mean, I can, but the thoughts, you know, the way the mind works, right? You either think of the best, the absolute best, or you think of the absolute worst. You're never totally fair with yourself. It takes a lot of work to bring that negative, that seriously negative, and that seriously positive into a state of real alignment with yourself. And that's really what self-work is all about. It's about being honest with yourself. So that's really what I've been venturing into. And I discovered sacred sexuality, and it's been completely life-changing. So that's kind of it, the answer to that question.
Okay, so how about, you know, in terms of us as a society, where do you think we are in terms of a society on a path of evolving sexuality? Are we evolving, right, or are we, you know, still in the hunter-gatherers mode?
Yeah.
Backwards, it's just sex, procreation, reproduction.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that is a very, very real question, right? So what's happening is that so Tantra, the very concept of Tantra, requires you to look at the other as a god or a goddess, to look at your partner as a perfection, as a devotion. It makes sex into a meditation. Every sexual experience needs to be almost new, like you're seeing boobs for the first time. You're seeing vagina for the first time. It's really about the level of innocence that I don't think anybody in the world can have today, just because we live in a world that as soon as you're born, you have so many preconceived judgments about what sex needs to be. First one, you need to have an orgasm. That's just, you know, that's just something we've led to believe. What an orgasm is did not need to be defined if it was an adventure of the body. If you were so relaxed in your body, you would eventually discover the orgasm. So every experience needed to be completely new. And therefore Tantra requires, actually it's as a prerequisite, Tantra requires a world that is free. It requires a world that inside you don't look at the other as an object. You don't look at sex as a result. You look at it as devotion. And if you're going to look at sex as devotion, you need a world free of what sex is today. Sex is currently a bargaining tool to get what we want. We're still at that stage. So many women today use sex as a bargaining tool to get what they want. I mean, let's face it, I have so many friends that without even realizing, they allow themselves to have sex when they feel a resource is available in front of them. Therefore, I can share my body. Now, this concept of sharing your body is already a bargain. If you were completely innocent in the act of sex, you would not be expecting anything. The moment you engage with another for the purpose of having his kids, consummating children, and everything else that a familial setup actually sort of shadow family setup comes with, is not supportive of Tantra. So there's a lot of work. There's so much depth to this that still requires a great deal of work for us. And it's not impossible. It just takes dedication. And if you have husbands and wives, what tends to happen is that we end up doing so much. Do, like this world of doing. I still remember when I was married, oh my God, got family relationships, and you have work stuff, and you have, all of these goals going on that are actually just survival. They're all survival. They're not actually thriving. Now, when you're thriving, you have time to do what you love. In fact, you have all the time in the world to do what you love. And what you love then needs to be defined first. And for that to be defined, you first have to come back to yourself, really back to yourself, not this influence or this influence. This, I've met really few people, really few people who I look at and they live from this space of, wow. So we live in a world that is evolving in the right direction. The wellness industry is expanded, and that has created the seeds for this. We are currently in a wellness festival, which is wonderful stuff. So I'm looking forward to more such things that will allow people to come back to a space of feeling, and from a space of feeling, create a world where they're really doing what they want. Because when you're doing something that you truly want and you're not looking for a result, that really becomes tantric sex. Sort of unguided and unresulting experience. This whole thing about I can't orgasm, this G-spot, I can't find my G-spot, can't get a G-spot orgasm, and all of that. There's so many practices out there that can help you do that, right? Mantak Chia is a whole book on it. And our wonderful Martha will be able to guide you through all of it. She's an amazing expert at these things. But it requires your body to be, not just relaxed, right? It's not just about relaxation. You can never be 100% relaxed if you're constantly living another life, the extreme negative or the extreme positive. The ultimate relaxation is sitting in you being 100% aligned, 100% wound-free, trauma-free. So much of that still exists in this world today. So that's kind of where we are with evolving. We have a long way to go, but we have started.
Yes, and from your sharing now, I just suddenly visualized you as this wonderful Egyptian goddess looking, and today your setup and your dressing just looks it, and you have very sharp features with your hair up, and compassionate eyes that's trying to guide us into alignment with our body, mind, spirit. And so I was also wondering, so we are now talking about alignment within the self. So how can a man and a woman in a relationship deepen their sexual relationship? How can we work best together with our partner in order to do that?
Okay, I have had quite a few lovers in the last post-marriage situation, and it really dawned on me how much our generation has conditioned men, to be performers, and how much it has conditioned women to be submissive. I would say the first thing is have a discussion about that aspect. Performance and submission. And really break down the barriers that have been created that make you want to perform and make you want to submit, and how it could be trapping you as a personality when it comes to experiencing an even higher form of sexuality. That would be the first thing. This is the greatest conditioning. And then from that aspect, when you're able to have that discussion in an open atmosphere as possible, you go to the next level of conditioning that you've experienced. And then the next level, and then the next level. And as you're doing this, of course, please have sex. Because when it starts to get tense, I mean, it's wonderful for, makeup sex or whatever, that rocks your boat as you're having, because you're going to have discussions, it's going to get heaty. And you want to create an atmosphere, right? Certain rules and regulations around discussions of how you're going to break your conditioning so you get out of a certain setup. And when you start to melt that setup, you're moving towards almost looking at your partner as a brand new person, right? That really is the aim, to come back to that innocence, erotic innocence that existed in us from the day we were born. Just been kind of mashed up by society's very suppressive ways. But we are here because we have broken that. We're actually here. It's amazing, the fact that we're at a sexual wellness festival right here in Asia is amazing. It's really, really wonderful that we are doing this. So we are taking great steps, and things are going to change.
Yes, so as Genecia said, I'm ready for the next step. Yes. Okay, if I may, okay, I wanted to ask Varin to guide us in a tantric meditation, if it's all right with all of you here. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, cool.
It's just a light meditation. Okay. All right, so everyone, please close your eyes. Very nice, deep breaths. So we'll do a 4-step inhale and a 5-step exhale. I'd like you all to release any tension in your lower body space with this. Okay, so as we inhale, 2, 3, 4. And as we exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Really bring that exhale down to your lower body space. And another one, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And final one, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And continue on your own with this deep inhale and exhale. If it feels right, and only if it feels right, place your right hand over your heart space and your left hand over your groin area. And just become aware of your heart and your groin space, your sacral chakra. Just note how you feel about your heart how you feel about your groin space. I mean, even me using the term groin. How do these things make you feel? Words touching your heart and touching your groin space. How do the two differ? How do the two relate? How do the two connect? And now bring your breath into it again. And this time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'd like you to feel your groin area, your sacral chakra, your womb space. For men, the hara, the energetic womb of creation. Now, the purpose of our womb, our sacral chakra, is abundance, is joy, is pleasure. As you place your hand and as you feel and connect with this space, truly what feelings are arising? Really take note, really accept and know the difference between the truth that your body is speaking to you and the judgments that you may be using to avoid the truth of your body. Note the difference. And if there's none, that's fine. If there are, that's fine. It's an exploration. And now come back to your heart space. Coming back to your heart space very gently, feeling your heart with your hand. Really knowing the energy of your heart, the depth. It goes all the way to the back. Our heart chakra is much bigger than just the organic heart. It's the front, it's the back, it's the sides, it's around the breast, it's around the chest. It is expansive. Feel the energy of your heart, how powerful it is to heal, to love, and to shift anything. And now with intention, with your next exhale, however you want to do this, send the words, "I respect you," from your heart to your womb space. Just note how it begins to feel. As you connect your heart to your center of creation, your womb, now we'll send it another message from our heart, our healing heart, the beautiful loving energy of the heart. Maybe you want it to be a color, a pink, a green, anything you like. The next message to our womb space is, I adore you. I really adore you. And the third word to our womb space is with intention to your womb space. I open a new world of pleasure with you. With you. Okay. Continue to feel your heart and your womb space and any messages, any symbols, images, colors, sensations, pulsations, anything else that arises. Just hold it. Capture it. Honor it. And be receptive to the communication of your own body. Final inhale and exhale. All right. And when you're ready, come back into the room, into your body, wiggling your hands and feet, making notes of anything that you want to look into or anything at all, and we're back. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful meditation, that slowing down. I guess most of us will probably, be in a different space now, and we can kind of have another fresh set of eyes to look at our topic again. So coming back once again to sex, money, and spirit. So I'm gonna open the floor now. Do you have any questions for our panelists that you would like to raise, to ask, whatever they talked about, they shared, their perspectives, questions about their work? You can type it out if you prefer. Okay, if not, I'm gonna start and come from a different perspective and just look at it from the shadow side, because we have been talking a lot about, the positive aspects, how we could look at sex, how we should have our positive money attitudes, how we could actually align ourselves with soul and with spirit. So most of the time we also have our, yes. So all the three aspects actually do interconnect. Okay. Before asking each of our panelists, to share about how they actually will weave the three aspects together, to me personally, I look at it along the themes of power and control. Yeah. So because in terms of when you talk about sex, when you talk about money, or even your relationship with spirit or with source, there is that element of power, of you wanting to be in control, of you wanting things your way, of expectations. Yeah, that is actually how I look at it. So each of our panelists, would you all like to share how would you actually interconnect the three aspects of our topics today? How about Genecia? How would you actually link sex, spirit to money?
I think the thing that comes up for me truly before the start of the session, I did examine and pick out a few cards. So I think the whole piece that comes together is a journey. So the word that comes up for me is journey. And the first card is expectations. So when we have expectations that in our life, our circumstances, we are bound by our mindset, living in a box that we only know how. So it's important to recognize that we are actually holding on to relationships to lay blame and justify in order to live our life instead of letting go and being free, right? That's where our soul comes back into space. So for me, all these things comes together, and by recognizing and being aware of my expectations of myself and towards my family and the people, my situations, and recognizing what's holding on stuff and baggages and releasing them, and going through a path of healing by a choice, knowing that it's a space where I choose and I can choose again at that instant. And that made all the difference. When I went back to my childhood and went back to revisit my family constellations, I could choose again. I have a choice. And that completely changes my energy and the way I view things. And things that were bugging me were no longer bugging me again, whether it's in money, spirit, or sex. And last but not least, I learned to receive. And the success is the gift. So all these things tied up for me overall is through these 4 cards: expectations, holding on, choice of healing, and then receiving the success as a gift. And that has made all the difference in all these 3 aspects of my life.
Yes, thank you, Genecia. So Fiona, she had a comment, just for fun, which one do you prefer? If you can only choose one, will you choose sex, money, or spirit?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can answer. Yes, Varin, do you want to have anything to say with regards to that? That's just a for fun question, actually.
I would say sex.
Why?
I know the practical answer would be to say money. With money, you can buy, sex and spirit. I guess that's how the world works today. But I'd be going against the very concept of spirit, and spirit. Well, the very aspect of. Oh, did I see sex there? Yes, I did say sex. I would say spirit, not sex.
That's a Freudian slip.
It was, yeah. I was trying to say spirit, and sex came out. Yeah. What I was trying to say was, I go against the very grain of spirit, because I think without the spirit, right? You can't really enjoy sex. You can't really enjoy money. By itself, sex and money are they're a lot of fun. I understand, but I guess if you're me and you're looking for something much deeper from my own life experience, I would choose sex. I would choose. See, I'm going to sex again. I would choose spirit. Feels like there is something there that I need to think about. It's important. I actually recognize that. It's important. I honor that. So yeah, nice question.
I I would really choose spirit. Yes, just to make sure that I didn't get it wrong. I would choose spirit because if my spirit is really good enough, I think I can go against whatever suffering that I am having or whatever problems that I'm having. So I think spirit it's beyond sex and money. Sex and money for me is like desire. There are still desires, whereas spirit I think is beyond that. So I would like if I can only choose one, probably spirit.
Very difficult to choose one though. I'm quite greedy. Can I choose all three?
Why not?
Yeah,
not?
I believe you can have it all. So no, I'm not choosing one. Just kidding. But if yeah, I would like to choose all three actually.
Yes. So, you know, when you believe you can have it, you can have it all. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Even you don't choose, they are coming and haunting you anyway. Right? We cannot run away from our relationship with all these three elements. I don't think we can as a human being. How can we run away from money? How can we run away from our own sex? Even though a person would choose to be a monk, then they still have to deal with their relationship with sex. Even though they choose to be celibate. Yes, there is, because these are things that is always with us, our spirit, our money, and our sex life. Yeah.
Yes. So Mina was saying that all three are actually expressions of spirit, which I really agree. And then, you know, sometimes we can look at conditional sex versus unconditional sex. And it can also be, you know, I mean, if you change the word sex into money, it could be also conditional money and unconditional money. Conditional love, unconditional love. And is spirit conditional? Or is spirit always unconditional? Anyway, that's just food for thought. So,
Unconditional.
yes, Mina?
I
Would
would
you
say it's unconditional because it's divine. Divine is no judgment, isn't it? Divine is Tantra, is everything. And I think we are an expression of the divine, aren't we? So even our sexual divinity is what, you know, which has been oppressed through culture and, you know, our own baggage, our own backgrounds. And I think, you know, and you know, our sexual identity is informed from the past, present, and, you know, to the present, into the future. And like Shin was saying, it's about you know, you all saying is about how you become sexually free and open-minded and be aware of your own self-expression and own your own individual journey in that process, I think, you know. So yeah.
Yes, it really is an individual journey as well. Yeah. So Karen has another question here. How does money and sex interplay for you? Who would like to take that on? Money and sex. Do you use sex? Okay, this is, you know, just totally random. Do you use sex to get money? Do you use money to get sex? Or is it a power play? How do you balance that? Or how do they, you know, work in relation with each other?
I can take that one, I think. I'm okay to take that one. Is that all right?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. Because I'm not in the view where I can see everybody. I'm kind of moved around. So, right. I had this experience recently where I had a lover who was about 12 years younger than me, even more than that. And it was very enlightening because, you know, he's at a different stage in his life, right? He's starting out his career, and there's me who is, you know, I know what I want, I'm where I am, and see, I found myself actually wanting to pay for him. it was really interesting because I felt like we know that this is not actually going to go anywhere. It's just, it was just great sex. And I mean, you respect each other as people, you hang out, you become really good friends, but we know that it's not something that is going to take it from another space. So when I started to see that in myself, again, it was a conditioning. It's like you're taking on an archetype. All of this thing to do with money and sex are actually archetypes. They're models of behavior that we have learned from people around us, from societal constructs. So I would really encourage you to, when you see money and sex interplay, when you see things that suggest money buys sex, or sex is great only when you have money, you need to come up with examples of exactly when that is happening, and ask yourself, how does that actually make you feel? And when you feel it in your body, that is that right or is that not right, then you begin to create a new relationship between sex and money that works for you. Because I've done it with myself many, many times. I've been in situations where I have had, very, very wealthy men look at me, and they buy you things, and they make you feel like like they're buying sex from you. And it's actually very powerful feeling to know that this is one way of being able to live in this world. And when I saw myself doing that with this younger guy, I realized that it comes from a place of unworthiness. When you need to use money to buy sex, there is a bit of a worth issue there that needs to be highlighted, to be looked at, and it isn't something that is easy for people to see, because sex and money, they should be independent of each other. It should come from desire. So that's my answer. Any questions on that?
Okay, so this is related, right? So you mentioned desire. So HB has another question. Do nuns and monks masturbate? Do they devoid themselves from the pleasures of the flesh? I'm not sure if anybody of us can really answer this question, because I believe, please let me know if I'm wrong. I don't think any of us are nuns and monks here. So I guess we can't really answer that. But I think this, this question comes back to desire. So how do you actually then, manage your needs, your desire, be it for sex, be it for money, or be it for the feeling of the connection with somebody or with spirit? Some women desiring and rich men. I'm sure. Yes, Varin, do you want to say something?
Yes, that thing about desiring rich men and it fulfilling a need, it's important to ask yourself very, very honestly, is that coming from, where is that coming from? Is it coming from the fear of you never ever being able to provide for yourself in that way? As long as you're fully comfortable with a man providing for all your needs, and it's not coming from any negative space, then that's wonderful. But if it's coming from any fears or any doubts or unworthiness, then it needs that's a different thing altogether. So it's just good to know how you're really feeling about it, because it may not surface, the real issue underneath it may not surface, but in time to come, when you have discussions around, you spent this and you spent that and all of that, you need to understand yourself to be able to carry on in that kind of relationship.
Yes, thank you, Varin. Then I think you raised, one keyword, fear, right? So if you come from the other end of it, what types of fear do we have or do we hold with regards to money, or with regards to sex, or to our sexuality, and also to spirit, for example? Yeah. Maybe Genecia, could you maybe share a little bit, what are typical money fears that most people have, and how you could actually help address, or are there any practices that we could do?
Some of the common beliefs or monsters I see with the people I work with generally is money is evil, and money is the root of all evil. Somehow they have that beliefs that come up for them, and some of them do trade the sex for money. It's not because they don't love themselves enough, but I think they are coming from a space of pain, and a space of like what will say unworthiness. So they want to do that, and the lie they tell themselves is, it's okay, it's for the time being. Maybe I'll just do it for this few years, and then I can have the money and then do whatever I want. So when after working with them, I realized that going back to trauma of the childhood issues are important, and I, by working with them on those areas, bringing them back to the times where they feel a lot of pain, to help them to alleviate that. But at the end of the day, however, I still see that, because you see, you can't change a habit within one session, right? So it definitely have some more work to be done for them to overcome and move forward. After a few years, some of them do, some of the clients I work with, they eventually do to break out of that cycle, knowing their worth, and then eventually marrying the right person in their life, and now very happily married, with 3 kids and so happy. But I've also seen clients who never made it through that path. They're just stuck in that cycle. They want to, they are somewhat aware, but they just go back to that space in itself. So my learning is this. I think I've got about 2 learnings on this. First, you really have to, I think the drawing of love from outside influence is a lot, especially when we meet these people. So guiding them to loving themselves is pretty arduous journey for them to really love themselves. So working with them on that self-love part and self-love piece is never going to be a one-off session. So I always leave them with homework. So I think self-love is key. And the other piece that I discovered was knowing your own value, which comes from the mom and the dad, mirroring what happened. Because when they are young, parents quarrel over what? Money, right? So when they fight, power struggle, things happen, and it manifests into their lives. So I can see that if we are able to resolve by the journey of self-love, and also working through our parents, so the family constellation, the family pieces, it will definitely help a lot, especially in sex and in money and in spirit.
Yes.
Xiao Yuin really raised a very good question when you asked Genecia about what actually is the biggest fear for most of the people in terms of money. And it is actually very contradicting, I think, how many of us actually always wanted to be rich, but in the same time, do we realize that we have a lot of, including myself, a lot of negative perception towards rich people. Rich people must be very arrogant. Rich people must be very somehow some kind. And when someone is showing us they are rich, we just feel uncomfortable. Or sometimes when you tell me that this person is very rich, I just feel very distant away. Is this person very serious? Am I supposed to be very aware of what I'm going to tell this person and how I behave in front of this person? So I think this is the thing that we have to realign, where we love money, and can we admire and make friends with people who are rich? Yeah, let's put it that way. And of course, sex, I think, is the same thing. The much we the much that we talk about, we wanted to have a good sex life. But looking back into the perspective of us towards sex, actually it's negative. Sex is dirty. Sex is for trading. I can use sex as a tool to manage my relationship with my partner. Today, he or she is making me unhappy, so tonight, no sex for you. Are we doing that? So these are the things that we always have to be aware and come back and to align with our perception towards sex and money. Do we love these two elements enough? Do we really able to accept them as they are? So yes, these are the homework that we have to do. I have to do as well. Back to you, Sherry.
Yeah, and it's true. I think a lot of our attitudes and thoughts about money, our value systems, they all come from our parents. And I think interestingly enough, since, you know, Genecia also talk about family and parents and our parents, mommy and daddy. Well, Karen was talking about what about sugar mommy and sugar daddy dynamics? Yes. What would your take on that be?
So I think going back into sugar mommy and sugar daddy dynamic, it's like it's like what I said just now, the relationship between us. Are we like sex workers? Are we trading sex for money? If yes, then okay, I'm just providing a service. Let's not look at it so as sex as something so sacred and up there, and just put it down to earth where I'm providing a certain service and you have the need, then I have the service for you, and just a supply and demand thing. So sugar daddy and sugar mommy, I think it's the same. They need this service as someone with them, maybe a companion, and they exchange it with wealth. Barter system, going back into the barter system, you have something that I want, that I'm able to provide them. I'll just give you whatever you want, just as a trade. So for me, I think it is not so much of intimacies in terms of spirit, but it's a trading. Yeah, that's my point. That's my standpoint.
Ladies, will our perspective be a bit different?
On sugar daddies and sugar mummies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think I 100% agree with Shin. The only thing I would add is when it comes to women, right, this thing about having sex for money, it does damage the body because our energetic makeup as a woman is not void of the trauma caused by sex that doesn't feel. For us, if sex doesn't feel, we are banishing a part of ourselves. And that in itself becomes a suppression that will come back to haunt us at some stage. So we live in a world where it's normalized, right? But there, from my experience of the female body, from the people that I have worked with, that have approached me with their issues, it is, your body is so numb, right? The body, after a certain point of time, continuing to do this, becomes so numb that there is nothing left, and it takes time to undo that. So it's completely fine to indulge, but you need to know when you're feeling something and when you're not, and have those rules around feeling and not feeling. You could really be in that sugar daddy relationship and be truly, truly enjoying it, or are you belittling yourself? You just need to know when these emotions are playing out. That's all I'd add.
Do you have any more other questions that you would like to ask our panelists? If not, there's actually time to wrap up. So maybe if I could quickly thank each of our panelists and maybe just get you to maybe share just one line, one statement as a key takeaway for our participants tonight. One tip, one advice, one slogan, one mantra. I am ready for the next step. Yes, I remember that one. Okay.
Yeah, I deserve to be rich because I give value to other people's lives. Remember, as we serve, we deserve. And we have value, we deserve. So yeah, go ahead. Alone, you are strong. Together, we are unstoppable. Remember that.
Thank you, Genecia.
I would like to borrow the F word, which is freedom. And I think freedom is the key takeaway for me today, where set ourselves free and to set the people around us free as well. So, yeah, this is what I would like to say.
Thank you, Shin.
I would just say, always come back to how you feel about something. Always come back to what your heart is telling you about something. Not everyone not everyone truly desires things that, the checklist of everything, the deepest orgasm or the bigger scream. What is it that you desire? Really, really search to find that. So that's what I would say. Come back to your feeling. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all your journeys, your experiences, different perspectives of your lives with regards to sex, money, as well as spirit. Thank you so much for sharing your time, for being here, for being present, and for holding this space with all of us. Thank you, Shin. Thank you, Genecia. Thank you, Varin. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Alma. And thank you all, each and every one of you who are here online with us tonight.
Thanks, Seow Yuin, for doing the panel. Thanks, panelists. Thank you for taking time and sharing your insights and thoughts. I'm going to stop the recording.